Hello everybody, I'm Azortharion, and if I sound a little tired, it's because it's been a long week. Anyway, this is going to be a little bit of a different video. I just kind of hit record with no super concrete plan in mind, but the idea is that I want to give you as much information about patch 11.05 as I can in a relatively short span of time. The video itself is not going to be that exciting, so my hope is that you can sort of put this on as a background thing. Think of it like a podcast. I will show some things on screen, but I'll mostly be saying what I'm showing as well. All right. So the first thing you'll probably want to know is, what is the Hunter spec balance going to look like for patch 11.05? Well, that is a complicated question. Right now, it is the case. Well, I'm making this Tuesday evening. The US servers came up a bit ago, and shortly after they came up, we realized that they accidentally left in, they forgot to nerf one thing about BM that has a huge impact, and they left in a buff that probably wasn't supposed to be there. Yada, yada, yada. Basically, BM is massively overbuffed right now. And so as I make this video, which may be outdated and like by the time it's uploaded, who knows? BM is just completely broken for both single target and AoE. Alright. Once that is fixed, which is what really matters, based on the current numbers, it's looking like survival is really good for Mythic Plus. The AoE is not quite as good as MM, but the single target in Mythic Plus build is really good, and the prior target damage in Mythic Plus is really good. So survival is eating really good for Mythic Plus. It's also eating really well for Raid, because it has the highest single target of the three specs, not by a huge margin, but by, a bit. And it has really excellent AoE, and once again, like on AoE raid fights, where you do need some AoE, but single target is ultimately what matters the most, survival also does that really, really well. So kind of a survival patch at the moment. I know a lot of people, well, a few people will be happy about that, a lot of people are kind of doom about it. You can still play BM and MM, and I guess that leads me on to the range specs. So single target, if they fix everything that we assume they're going to fix, then it's going to be pretty clearly MM over BM in terms of single target and AoE. And that, of course, also goes for Mythic Plus. So it's going to be MM significantly above BM for Mythic Plus if they fix everything we expect them to fix. Now, if they only fix part of what we expect them to fix, then maybe it's a little bit of a different story. And what you're seeing on screen right now is basically just the current Icy Veins guide that I've updated for patch 11.05. And on the front page of those guides, it has like a breakdown of the best Hunter spec for raiding and Mythic Plus that I tend to keep updated. Alright, that's the best spec section covered. Next up is a hero talent status. So BM at the moment is looking like basically pack leader across the board. A lot of people are quite disappointed and saddened by that, and understandably so, because they made all these Dark Ranger changes that we were... Like, the gameplay of them was actually kind of nice. Everyone kind of liked what they were doing, especially thematically. But it turns out they also changed some other things about BM, and the end result is basically... the end result, TLDR, trying to make a short video here. Pack Leader ended up being the best for pretty much all scenarios. Dark Ranger has a little bit more AoE than Pack Leader, but it has significantly less single target in the AoE build, and also prior target damage. So even for Mythic Plus, we tend to prefer Pack Leader for that. Now, this... Actually, I don't think that'll change meaningfully when they change, like when they fix what we expect them to, but yeah. I'm kind of semi-expecting them to touch up Dark Ranger, because it feels a bit silly that they put in all that effort for a hero talent that then no one is going to play, except for like diehards and stuff, so let's hope some stuff changes there. But yeah, you can see basically, everything I say now, just by virtue of how quickly everything is happening, might be outdated by like tomorrow. Icy Veins will always be updated with everything you need to know, both in terms of spec balance and of course what you should play for each spec. I'm just telling you what it is right now and trying to give you as much information as I can. Alright, MM hero talents, so similar situation, quite disappointingly. It ended up just being Sentinel. Of course, MM got some talent tree changes that were beneficial for it, like pretty subtle buff overall, like anywhere from 2 to 4 to 5% across both single target and AoE. But the Dark Ranger changes actually ended up being a numerical nerf for Dark Ranger, which was already, just basically just about relevant for single target And now it's just completely irrelevant as I make this video. So it's just Sentinel for everything with marksmanship right now. Quite disappointing, but yeah, that's the way it is. Survival. Survival is basically playing... So it's actually, they kind of nailed the balance. Actually, I won't even say they nailed anything, because I'm personally of the opinion that Blizzard doesn't really do balancing. They just kind of do things, and like balancing implies that they're actually sort of weighing numbers against each other and tuning and like, you know, really looking into the... I think they just fucking do shit, and like you don't know what you're gonna get. It's just a roulette wheel every single patch. So they didn't nail it, but it happens to be the case. So survival has pretty good hero talents on both sides. So Sentinel is generally better for Mythic Plus, and Pack Leader is generally better for raiding and Mythic Plus. But in both cases, you know, you can absolutely play Pack Leader for Mythic Plus. It suffers a little bit if you don't chain pull. Like it suffers from downtime between pulls. But of course, as you know, or might know, Sentinel suffers a lot from when tanks are moving things out of your Lunar Storm, and they still haven't made it so that sticks to the target. On the flip side, in raid, Pack Leader is pretty dominant, because Pack Leader, obviously, there's no downtime between packs in a raid scenario, so it's not as much of a problem, whereas the Lunar Storm problem definitely still exists in raiding. Yeah. Alright, so that's hero talents covered. Other stuff for BM, like rotation, I mean, the guide is updated. Are there changes? Yes. Are they huge? No. I mean, BM still fundamentally plays the same, especially since we're not playing Pack Leader. Yeah, I mean, you know, the APL is still being tweaked by the smart people, and I'm updating the guide, keeping up with that, and the same goes for the other specs. In terms of stat priority, BM is... So Pack Leader is crit haste, and Dark Ranger is haste crit. Not really that big of a difference, but, you know... It basically means that multi-speccing is a little bit easier, and we'll also see the same going over to survival in a moment. You know, Bisc gear, I mean, you should just sim your gear. You shouldn't really care about Bisc gear. It's in the guides because it's good for SEO. You shouldn't care about Bisc lists. You should just sim your character. But it's helpful to know that, you know, maybe you should... For example, if you have like a Seacron neck for BM currently, you might want to sim the Locket from Rushenam, because that's high crit and that could be better for you. Stuff like that is at least worth keeping in mind. Alright, MM as well. So, you know, talent builds pretty similar to what we had before, just especially for... Like, we're grabbing some of the new talents, like we're grabbing Steady Focus in all scenarios. We're grabbing the new Pin Cushion in pretty much all scenarios. But other than that, the talent builds are pretty much similar. Rotation as well, actually been simplified a little bit by APL developments. We kind of, well, I say we, like the smart people, Singus and Gang, Co, and others, they basically kind of started from scratch with the APL, simplified it, and just kind of build it up from the bottom. And that's still a work in progress, especially for Dark Ranger, but ultimately, MM still fundamentally plays the same. No major changes, especially since we're still playing Sentinel. And stat priority, MM is completely the same. It's just crit, mastery, versatility, haste. If you're playing Dark Ranger, which you're not right now, but maybe who knows what they'll do, haste tends to jump up quite a bit in value next to mastery. But ultimately, the thing that really matters for MM is that you have as much crit as possible. And all these other considerations are like really minor by comparison. All right. Survival is a bit of a similar situation with the whole Pack Leader thing. Pack Leader really, really likes crit. So Pack Leader picks up basically crit, and then haste mastery kind of interchangeable. Sentinel remains the same thing. It's basically just mastery above all. Crit haste sort of interchangeable. Most people prefer crit, and then it's just versatility at the bottom. So yeah, let's hope that this video doesn't get outdated super quickly. I hope it was useful to you. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Any questions for me in the comments below? Maybe I'll make a follow-up video for this, because I fully expect that maybe I'll make another one in the coming day or two, just going over everything that's changed, like what did they end up doing with the nerfs. And maybe I'll do like a little Q&A in that video. So leave any questions for me in the comments below, and I'll probably try and answer it in the next video like this. So thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely patch 11.0.5 and reset, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.